Have you ever sat through a presentation and were thinking, please take me anywhere else except right here? This is the most boring thing I have ever experienced. How much longer do I have to go? If you've ever experienced that, because I know I have, please let me help you not be the person that delivers that kind of message. Here are 5 steps to help you deliver a presentation that's going to keep people engaged from the beginning all the way to the end. So I want you to think about your favorite movie that you've ever been to or ever seen. They don't just start out with the director gives a presentation and says, this is my name, and this is the movie that I have made, and this is what you're going to experience when you see it. No, they don't do that. They drop you into the scene. They make you feel the experience, and you're kind of questioning, well, wait, what's going on? What am I doing? Who are these characters? What's the plot line? What are the experiences I'm going to go through? This is how you want to be able to begin a presentation. And here are the 5 steps that I really want to step through today to talk about how to deliver a presentation that engages people from beginning to end. I'm going to follow an acronym we're going to call TRACK. So the first one for T, we're going to talk about the type of presentation. So there are multiple styles of presentation. If you're in a corporate environment, it might be a board meeting. It might be a one-on-one meeting. It might be to a team. If you're giving a speech, it might be to an audience that's not going to respond back. So you need to think about what the presentation is and what's the engagement that those individuals are going to have with you. Are they allowed to ask questions throughout the process, or you have a certain amount of time and you need to deliver content throughout that whole time period? So think about the type of presentation that you need to be delivering and how best to leverage the tools that you have to deliver that. The second one is going to be R for ramp. What I mean by that is it sets the stage. It needs to be real. It needs to be tangible. It needs to be some sort of story or journey that you're going to take your audience through. I want to give you an example that I really enjoy. So my dad had the experience to be able to work with NASA for many, many years, and he actually worked with the team that built the Challenger. And he used an experience where they're engineers and they love the experiences where you can bring this kind of washer. And he said, I want you to come up with as many examples as you can of what this could be. And they came with multiple lists, and the concept was about innovation. Fast forward, the Challenger blows up. And he's actually called back into the room of all of the engineers that were responsible for that experience. Now imagine what that must have felt like for him to walk into an auditorium and he's supposed to give a presentation to a bunch of engineers that had a massive failure. Well, he stepped up and he started to talk. And what they actually did was they pulled out of their pocket washers and they held them up. This symbolized we're ready to go to work. We're ready to figure out what we actually need to do to make a change. That's the kind of ramp, that's the kind of story that gets people involved in what you need to do. So here, let me give you a quick example of what I could do. Say we have a meeting about we need to change something, or some adjustments need to be made, and we need to be thinking about different ways of thinking. I'll use another space analogy since I'm on that. So about 30, 40 years ago, there was a group of students that were selected to send something up into space to see how it would respond in 0-degree gravity. And what they selected was a spider. Now, it's fascinating when you think about a spider, what do? They build webs, right? That's how they build food and protect themselves. So think about sending a spider into outer space. What are they going to do? The spider, for example, it was bouncing off of walls. It wasn't making any contact. And it was failing completely because it was following exactly what it was used to doing. But then it discovered something. It discovered that if it could swim across the 0 gravity, it could actually build a web. And so by adapting to its environment and thinking about what it could actually do, the spider was able to change its environment and accomplish the task. So think about in today's session, what are we trying to accomplish? We are trying to accomplish how we adjust, how we adapt, how we change. So think about that story rather than beginning, hi, my name is Brian Stewart, and I'm going to give a presentation about how we change. Do you see the difference between those two experiences? It's real, it's emotive, it puts people in the moment to actually get going and make decisions. So when I move on to the third one, I want to take a quick plug. If this is something that you're liking and you want me able to create more experiences around this, click below and subscribe to my channel so that I can keep creating more content that's really going to help you. So the third in the acronym of TRACK, we're going to talk about audience. Now, there are many different ways to think about audiences and people and how people react, but I like to narrow it down to about 4 types of people, okay? So the first one is someone that is extremely driven. You know, they want the facts. They're going to talk about it. They might argue. They might make a quick decision. It's nothing personal, nothing offensive, but I'm going to go and you can come with me if you need to. Second type of person is, I need all of the details. Please tell me all the details. I want an agenda up front if this is a corporate setting, or I want to know all the numbers so that I can think about it and prepare before I actually go into this session. Third type of person is really focused on, how is this going to impact people? How is this going to impact maybe a culture or a message or a concept that we're trying to drive? Is this going to impact people's jobs, the way that they live, the way that they work, the way they experience things today? Really thinking about that impact. And a fourth variety are those that think about big dreams or big ideas. You know, they come up with all sorts of things and they're like, oh, I got this cool idea. Let's go do this. I'll worry about the details later. Somebody else is going to take care of that. You know, there are dreamers type of people. So when you think about those 4 different audiences, and then you think about the type of presentation that you need to give, you need to think about how you tailor your content to those 4 distinct audiences at the same time. It's possible and it's doable, but it's important that you understand that there are different minds that think in different ways and how you present that information. So we just talked about audiences. Fourth one I want to talk about of track is content. So when you think about your content, what's the actual purpose of why you're delivering that content? Are you giving a speech because you're trying to inspire someone? Are you trying to have a meeting? Maybe it's a business meeting where after you present information, decisions need to be made. Are you just informing people of what's happening? Each of those different ways changes the content that you present. If it's a decision meeting, you need to make sure you have some facts, some figures, some risks. You know, if we don't do this, this is going to happen. Or if we do this, these are the results that we might experience. If you think about the purpose of what it is that you're trying to do, are you trying to create some sort of emotional outcome where you want people to gather around an initiative or around some sort of, program or project or whatever it might be? What I like to do is, based upon how much time I have, whether it's 60 seconds or 60 minutes, I like to break it up into 3 distinct subjects. The first thing that I want to talk about, the second thing, and the third thing. And the reason why I can do that is because if I have 60 seconds, all I'm going to do is say those 3 things and close. But if I have 60 minutes, I'll take those 3 building blocks and I'll add some stories, I'll add some data, I'll add some content, I'll add some other things below it to really build out the experience. Because if I'm giving a presentation to someone, it's a one-way direction. But if I'm having a conversation with someone and it's a meeting of some kind where I don't want to just be up there for 20 minutes presenting all of this and hearing my own voice, you want a dialogue. Because what happens if you get 10 minutes into the presentation and they didn't get the first point that you were actually trying to talk about? You just wasted 10 minutes of really valuable time. So if you have the opportunity to have a virtual or an in-person session meeting, understand and set the expectations of questions. Do you want dialogue? Do you want it to be a conversation so that you can get the points across that you really want to? And the last one of the track is the close or the call to action. One of the worst things that you can do is just say, thank you, that's the end of my presentation. It's like you were at a movie and, something finally happened at the end and then they just close it off and you're like, wait, what just happened? Like, I don't know. This doesn't work. You need to treat presentations and meetings with something that people can take away, a call to action, a close, so that they can actually then move forward in their mind with what they're trying to do. So think about that closing and how you're able to transform their thoughts and processes, whether it's now we need to make decisions about it or you're informing them. So these are the basic aspects of how to give a really engaging presentation, whether it's 60 minutes or even up to 60 minutes or even a full day. And so I want you to be successful the next time that you deliver a presentation. If you felt like this content was valuable, I want to deliver to you some training that I've provided, which is free, that will help you to be able to dive in a little bit deeper about how to really give that executive level presentation or that leader level presentation.